She was only 27, full of dreams, a runner, a builder, a believer. Until one moment shattered everything. The doctors looked her in the eyes and said, "You may never walk again." But what they didn't know was that Anna didn't run on legs alone. She ran on will, on fire, on something no scan could detect, determination. But let's go back to the day it all changed. It was a Saturday morning. Anna had laced up her favorite shoes. She was training for her first marathon, something she'd dreamed of for years. The sky was clear, the wind light. She remembers smiling at a child on a bicycle. Seconds later, everything turned black. A car, a screech, a scream, and silence. When she woke up, all she could hear was the beep of a heart monitor. The air smelled like metal and antiseptic. Her legs were numb, her arms trembling. The doctor stood at her side. He wasn't cruel, he was careful. His words, clinical but devastating. "Anna, the spinal injury is severe. You may never walk again." She didn't cry, not at first. She stared at the ceiling, counting the cracks in the white paint, trying to feel something. Anything. Her mother sobbed quietly in the corner. Her father clenched his jaw, trying to be strong. Her friends came, left flowers, smiled like everything would be okay. But their eyes said something else. They were preparing to say goodbye to the old Anna. She was alone with a body that didn't respond, a future that had vanished, and a voice inside her screaming, "This is not how my story ends." And that's when the real story began. You see, recovery isn't just about healing bones. It's about rebuilding belief, piece by piece. And for Anna, that journey was just getting started. Hospitals are strange places. They fix the body, but no one tells you how to heal your soul. For weeks, Anna lay still. Her legs didn't move, but her mind, it never stopped. Racing, collapsing, breaking. The days blurred into each other. White ceilings, cold sheets, the beep of machines became her new soundtrack. People came and went. Nurses with polite smiles. Friends with forced optimism. But once the doors closed, it was just her, and the weight of silence. She remembered the feeling of wind on her face while running. Now, even rolling over required help. Every time someone said, "You're so strong," she wanted to scream, I'm just stuck here." Depression crept in quietly, like a fog that didn't ask permission. Some days she'd pretend to sleep, just to avoid conversation. Other days she wondered if the doctors were right. Maybe walking again wasn't in the cards. Maybe she'd never be more than the girl in the chair. But then, on a quiet Tuesday afternoon, a nurse walked in. An older woman with gray hair and soft eyes. She didn't say much, just placed a hand on Anna's shoulder and whispered, "You're not broken, sweetheart. You're paused." And pause is not the same as stop. It wasn't therapy. It wasn't a miracle. But for the first time in weeks, Anna blinked away her tears and whispered back, "Then I want to press play." And that moment, small, quiet, nearly invisible, was the beginning of a comeback no one saw coming. Because healing doesn't start with movement. It starts with mindset. And Anna had just made her first real move. The next morning, she asked for the chair by the window. It wasn't much, just a different view, from white ceiling to a sky full of clouds. But to her, it felt like standing up again, even while sitting down. For the first time in weeks, she journaled. It wasn't poetry, just a single sentence. "I'm not done." And just like that, something awakened. She asked the nurse about physical therapy. The nurse smiled, surprised, and said, "We'll go slow." Slow was fine. Slow was honest. Slow meant she was moving. That afternoon, Anna took her first exercise. It wasn't a walk. It wasn't even a step. It was a toe wiggle. Just that. And it took everything she had. Her face turned red. Her eyes welled with tears. And for the first time, they weren't from sadness. It was a victory. Small, quiet, but hers. The days ahead weren't easy. Each morning started with pain. Each session ended in sweat, but she kept showing up. 1 minute of movement became 3. 3 became 10. Then 15. One day her therapist told her, "Your muscles remember, but more importantly, so does your spirit." She wasn't just training her body, she was training her belief, rebuilding a self she had buried beneath diagnosis, doubt, and despair. And every drop of sweat whispered, "You are not your injury. You are not your limit." She wasn't hoping to walk again anymore. She was deciding to. Progress doesn't announce itself. Sometimes it shows up in silence, in effort, in one foot twitching beneath a blanket. But soon, it will roar. Day 146. The hallway smelled like sanitizer and hope. Anna sat in her wheelchair, staring at the parallel bars ahead. Her therapist nodded gently. "Let's try." Her hands trembled as she grabbed the cold metal rail. Her arms pulled. Her legs didn't quite respond. But she leaned forward anyway. One deep breath. Her right foot shuffled half an inch. Her heart was pounding like she was running a race. Every muscle in her body screamed. But something louder echoed inside her chest. "You've come too far to stop now." She looked up. Mirrors on the wall showed her full reflection. Not the broken girl from day one, but a warrior. A woman on fire. Another shuffle. Then her left foot. People passing by slowed down. The nurses stopped. Even the janitor froze, mop in hand. And then it happened. She took a full step, unassisted, one foot in front of the other, and the room erupted. Applause, tears. Even her therapist's voice cracked as he whispered, "She walked." Anna looked around and smiled. Not because she had proved the doctors wrong, not because she beat the odds, but because she proved to herself that no one writes her ending but her. And that step, it wasn't just physical, it was spiritual, emotional, revolutionary. A step away from doubt, a step toward freedom, and though she would fall again, many times, she now knew how to rise. Sometimes, a single step can carry the weight of 1,000 prayers. But for Anna, it wasn't the end. It was just the beginning of a life she was now choosing, step by step. It's been 3 years since that first step. Anna doesn't run marathons. She doesn't need to. Because now, she walks with purpose. And every step she takes whispers, "You are more than your pain." She became a mentor at the very rehab center she once struggled in. Every week, she stands in front of women who sit where she once sat, broken, silent, afraid. And she tells them, "Your body might be in recovery, but your spirit, it's already waiting at the finish line." Anna launched a podcast called Stronger Than Diagnosis. Not to share her success, but to amplify others. To remind the world that people aren't defined by what doctors say, but by what they decide to believe. She now works with survivors, trauma patients, and even high school athletes recovering from injury. Her Instagram doesn't show flawless yoga poses. It shows shaky knees, wobbly balance, tears, and strength that doesn't need to be perfect to be powerful. One of her posts went viral. A simple quote, handwritten on a sticky note. "They told me I'd never walk, so I ran in their faces." Thousands of shares, hundreds of thank you messages, and one comment that stood out. "Because of you, I stood up today. Thank you, Anna." She replied, "You didn't stand because of me. You stood because you were ready." I just reminded you who you are, and that's the truth. Because real healing isn't about walking again. It's about walking forward. On your terms, in your time, with a heart that never gave up. You've just seen one woman rewrite her ending. But there are millions more out there, maybe even you. And maybe your first step starts today. Anna's story isn't just about recovery. It's about refusing to be defined by the impossible. It's about finding strength in the darkest moments and turning never into now. But maybe this isn't just her story. Maybe it's yours too, or someone you love, someone who's been told to give up, to accept less, to stay down. So here's the truth they won't always tell you. You don't need to run marathons. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to start. Even if it's shaky, even if it hurts, even if it's 1 inch at a time. Because one small move can restart your entire life. If this story moved you, let us know in the comments below. Who do you know that needs to hear this today? And don't forget, subscribe to Awakened Wisdom so you never miss the next true story of courage, resilience, and redemption. Because next time, the story might be yours.